worldwide. They're not going to.
So what you gonna start off with?
I mean, you saw with the migrants because that goes into. Inflation Reduction Act. You heard about that?
Inflation Reduction Act?
Yeah, supposedly he passed it last year, and supposedly supposed to lower energy costs and like tackle climate crisis through investments in agriculture and forest restoration and stuff like that in rural communities. Oh, we'll see. We'll talk about our regular week before we actually, of course, just jump right into it or whatever. It's the sound again. Got you. Cause I can really hear the mic well, but something happened with the mixing board. Welcome back.
Yes, man. Good to be back. Appreciate y'all for tuning in with us, man.
Yes. It's a new world, old views. You know, to the left of me, I got Big Vergne in the house. I mean, to the right of me, I got Manny.
Appreciate y'all tuning in.
Yes, always on the boards, the proprietor, the one and only Big Al. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching us live on iAccess Radio. All right, guys. How y'all feeling, man? How was y'all week, man?
Good, man. You know, another day above ground is always good. Good health. Can't complain. Family, everybody's well. So, you know, another day above ground is always another blessed day.
Absolutely. How about you, Manny?
Yeah, just enjoying this warm weather while it's still here.
Oh yeah.
That's about it, man. Yeah.
I actually love this summer.
It
feels like spring, so I'm not complaining, bro.
That's what
don't start your nonsense.
No. Listen, man. I'm saying I don't mind the summer. Gotcha. Spring weather's good. I just can't deal with the humidity.
Yeah.
That humidity I don't like. But like the way it is right now, to me, it's perfect.
Absolutely.
Outside is perfect right now.
We could do. Wiz, what up, man?
What's going on, brother?
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for rocking out with us, man. Always.
Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm definitely. Good afternoon, Mom. How are you?
Mom, dude.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mom.
Appreciate
man. I'm loving it. I know people have their worries about this type of weather at this time of the year, but I'm loving it, man.
Yeah,
so,
I love it.
So listen, before we got on, OG was saying that you were out there doing your thing at the Hip Hop 50, man.
Yeah.
Making sure that everything was under control.
Yeah,
man.
I worked there last week. Provided some security to the performers and things of that nature.
That's beautiful. How was it, man?
It was nice. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was chill. It was a good environment. It was real good.
to quote the one and only Notorious B.I.G., they never thought hip hop would take it this far. Man,
50 years, man.
yeah, hopefully another 50 years where we'll probably be long gone, but that'll be that'll be beautiful.
We should be here another 50
I
years.
hope so. Yes.
That
We got to make sure we take care of ourselves, and
I'd be in my 80s, but I hope I'm still
yeah. Hopefully at that time, rocking back, having some sort of revenue come in,
And I hope by that time hip hop will be in a better situation than it's in right now.
Well, who knows, man? Some people say yay, some people say nay right now. If you think about it, evolution is always something like it is what it is. It could get better, but we just may not view it that way. When you look at sports, I mean, sports have evolved. The players are better in this day and age than they were in the past time.
See, but I would agree with that. Evolution happening in a natural occurrence is different. But like when agendas and specific topics are put to the forefront that artists are encouraged and pushed to speak about and propagate in their music, that's why I have this. I don't have a problem with the evolutionary change of the game, of the hip hop game. But what I'm talking about is the focus and the content within the music. When you listen to the music, back in the day, it was more uplifting, it's more revolutionary. It talked about more of the experience.
It all depends,
now
artists, of course. But yes, I understand what
now
you're saying.
It's more using a derogatory, low frequency type of way to keep people behaving in a certain manner and things of that nature. It's not the same. It doesn't have the same authenticity and organicness that it had in its inception. So now it's a little bit different now.
More participating parties got involved. More money was thrown out there. So less control from the artists was. There was more control from the people that from the investors as opposed to the artists at that point. Because even if you think about it, starting back from the inception of hip hop, it was actually more so party music, I guess, to get them through, to have something to be happy about and be joyful about in regards to things that they would deal with on a daily basis, especially in certain neighborhoods that they came up in. So, and then some other artists, talked about, the positive, more so being conscious, What else? They taught some were being journalists of the daily struggle.
It was a revolutionary movement.
Right, revolutionary movement.
You talked about the they articulated the experiences of people of the same demographics and the things that they experience and subjected to and go through. So,
right.
All you can do is just appreciate that kind of artwork at that time, because it's not like that now. It's a little bit. It's a little bit different now.
Well, what's pushed to the forefront, yes, it's different. No,
yeah,
I was
the mainstream, yeah,
right. Because what I was about to say is, you still have so many people. They're just not going to get through the doors as much. You still have your Kendrick, right? You have your Kendricks, you have your J. Cole's, but let's just be real. And I hate to say this because I don't like to really look down upon anybody, or especially our people, but we like the nonsense. That's like you said. That's what's going to be promoted. So we attach to it. It's like a magnet for us. So that's when we just start replicating what's shown in music videos and what's being said, and that becomes the grammar, the vernacular, the slang, whatever have you. That's what gets picked up, and that's what gets pushed. So,
well, the power structure knows that Black people as a whole, we are attracted to degeneracy,
right?
Unfortunately, so that's why all the the negative things in hip hop we are attracted to. We love that. We associate ourselves and our culture with it, and unfortunately, like I said, it's degeneracy.
Correct.
But this is why I said I hope in the next 50 years, hip hop goes into into another direction where it's more revolutionary.
Who's gonna lead it to that direction? Number one, and number two, before you answer that first question, I just also want to say, remember how we stated before? Okay, let's say that that's the case, but let's say you have 17, 18, 19-year-old people that want to make music in the hip hop industry, even from back in the day, when they saw that it could be lucrative, they might be like, I'm going to do whatever. I might push this narrative, although I don't agree with it, because we don't know what was happening behind the scenes. They might have had issues with pushing certain messages and things of that nature. However, when you're trying to get paid, it's a
but that's a matter of moral code, though. You
course.
sacrifice moral code for bread. That that depends on the individual now that's involved. Now that's on them to figure out
the
right thing to do. Because for me personally, I'm not going to sacrifice my moral code for money. That's me. Everybody's not like that. Some people will. Some people will compromise.
I mean, I always push the mom movement, the morals over money movement. However, let's be real. I mean, there's a certain price in which some of your morals will get pushed aside for a lot of people. For a lot of people, some people choose money over morals. You can invert the whole movement, but it's still MOM. But I agree, morals, but teach its own. Some people may think, hey, I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm being a journalist. It's up to you to take forth and go along with that action. It's just are they people that are being pushed into the spotlight to be somewhat of role models? You can argue yes. They may argue no. They can say I have a job to do like anyone else. The impact of that job is different from others. Yes.
I was just gonna say that at the end of the day, it's all propagated, and I mean, like and I wouldn't even say necessarily that in our current state, yes, we've become attracted to degeneracy, but we have to understand the power that the music is having over people. Because we there's been many studies that the frequency of the type of music you listen to has an effect on your behavior.
Absolutely.
So if this certain type of music is pushed on our communities, it's a reaction, and like I said, it's propagated. It's in turn only keep pushing a certain message, and only wanting certain rappers pushing certain messages are allowed to become successful, or the ones these labels push, in turns kind of creates a circle that these kids feel like, if these are the messages that can make you successful, then I'll go along with it for the sake of the career. And this goes back to like what you were saying, putting their morals over their money. But now, even separate from just from the moral aspect of it, just a psychological aspect of it. Like I said, there have been studies done on hip hop music and how listening to the same type of messages each time affects how you think. And again, it's like a circle pattern. They think that's how they'll be successful, but it's also that same music propagates how they act in the first place. So it's almost like a never-ending cycle of degeneracy. So that's why I don't even know if I could say we're necessarily attracted to degeneracy. I feel like we're caught in a cycle of degeneracy. Just from how the music industry propagates. So it's like I said, it's gonna take us, obviously. Change is always gonna take us to fix any of our problems. But you gotta, first thing is obviously putting your morals over money, but also you also have to actively consider what you're listening to, and realize that sometimes you probably you shouldn't even be putting that in your headspace.
If you look at the music, if you're an artist, a black artist, if you make music about killing or sexually devaluing any women from any other groups, it's suppressed. It's not supported. The minute we start talking about killing each other and sexually devaluing our own women, then you can make as much music as you want.
hold on before you go any further. Now, is it going back to what y'all said? Is it being propagated by the people sponsoring it, or is it you decided to make that music on your own in regards to your own people, and then they'll say, okay, we'll throw it out there? Because you got to remember, the most of the sponsors, they are not us, so they're not going to care if we bash our own kind. But I'm asking, if you're saying, okay, they're telling you, listen, you speak about this or whatever, and we'll support that, we'll push that, because it can be both.
That's what I said. I think it's a combination, bro. That's why I called it a cycle of the generations. Like I said, the aspect of the music is influencing how people are acting and thinking, but also at the same on the flip side, if they see that type of music is what's successful, and that's what's promoted, a lot of the people put money over morals and say, I'm going to go along with putting that kind of message out if that can make me successful.
Right. Before we end this, I know you want to say something. I just want to say, before we end this, how many people don't put money over morals? Some people will take a job to put food on the table, to make sure that they have something. So it's now, like you said, different dynamic in regards to the message that you're pushing out there to the people, because you can reach a mass, the masses, or depending upon how much you're pushed, you can reach a significant amount of people.
It's when you put other people at your expense for money. If you want to put yourself at risk for the sake of money, that's fine. But when you're doing something that influences a mass of people and is like I said, you're using people's sake for your gain, that's
music
very detrimental.
Music is a form of mind control.
Oh, absolutely. Well, no,
absolutely. like Emmanuel stated, if you listen to something over and over and over again, you're gonna then carry out those things in your own personal behavior.
The radio effect.
If you listen to it continuously over and over again, you're gonna start carrying out exactly what you're listening to in your everyday life. It's a form of mind control.
Unless you have a great sense of control of self.
But yes, I'm talking about how the most.
It starts with the influence of the youth mostly, because a lot of that drill scene and those killings and murders, a lot of those are young people.
Oh, absolutely.
It's because what they're listening. If you look at the music that they're listening to on a continual basis, they're inundating themselves with nothing but violence and negativity, which then they carry out in their everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's promoted so much. This is why record labels promote this so much, because the record labels profit from this.
Oh, absolutely.
They profit, and they want us to continue to put out that message. Like I said, let an artist make his music about killing Jewish people. It'll be taken down. It's not going to happen. Let us make a music about killing black folk. It's going to sell. The record labels dictate that because they're in the positions of power. So they tell the artist what to do. And the artist goes along with it. Because again, for financial gain, they'll sacrifice their moral code. Because to them, they just want to check. They want to be able to take care of themselves, and their family.
Of course.
So they will sacrifice a moral code and compromise to do that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But you don't find that with other groups. That's what I'm saying. Other ethnic groups are not going to sacrifice their moral code and put out music that destroys the image of their community as a whole. They won't do that. We will.
Or they won't be allowed to. I think people will get in their
head. But they have too much self-respect, though. They from a community standpoint, they have too much respect.
And they'll be afraid of being excommunicated.
Right. From their respective community. Yeah. Well, they won't do that. We don't care about it.
So why don't we? So then maybe that's something that we need to do.
Yeah.
But I agree wholeheartedly. Most people are going to usually, like you said, bite the bullet and take the money. But hopefully, we're hopeful. The next 50 years, we'll see what comes forth. I mean, but you got to remember, it's not going to always be. It's not going to always be all good. It's not going to be all bad. It's a yin and yang. Now, do you want more balance? Do you want like somewhere close to equal footing in regards to the good and bad? Sure, but we know that the world benefits off of destruction. So I'm not just gonna say just in the music destruction, competitive nature, whatever.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't necessarily say that the world benefits off destruction.
Since you've been alive, what do you see more so?
I'd say that those that are in positions of power and influence that can dictate, they benefit from destruction.
I thought I said Mama say yes, the people that sponsor,
they benefit from that because that's what they want. That allows them to continue to benefit financially.
Or once again,
the nonsense.
It spills all over to the people. Because like you said, how many views will you see for shows that, you know, that are speaking about, you know, positivity?
That shows the integrity.
That doesn't mean that there aren't, but it's few.
But it shows the integrity of the people as a whole. If there's not very few that are tuning in for that type of uplifting and positive music, then that shows where the mental capacity is of the people that are involved. They rather indulge and listen to negativity. That shows how they're operating from the standpoint that they're coming from.
Tough to say. Before we close out, I just want to say maybe they could just relate to the negativity more because this is what they were born into to some degree. A lot of them come from those. From that.
Only thing is
from that habitat.
Back then, there's a difference between talking about the environment you grew up in and promoting the negativity that's in your community. The difference here, we could even go far back in hip hop. Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5 with The Message. That song talks about what was going on in the community.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't,
but Grandmaster Flash never, bragged about killing and robbing somebody. So there's a difference. You could talk about the negativity you might have grew up in and how your environment shaped you. But there's a difference between promoting gang culture and promoting the negativity that's in your community. There's a difference. So you could talk about where you came from, but that's different from promoting, like I said, the negativity in the gang culture. So
True indeed. I know you wanted to discuss something that we have a.
Oh yeah. The whole migrant situation in New York, man. We have about.
Yeah. Right. What's going on, Pop? How you feeling, man? How's it going?
Oh, what's up, bro? Definitely.
Yeah. So talk about it. Talk about the migrant.
No, the whole migrant thing in New York. With
It's getting bad. They said over 100,000?
10,000 a month are coming in.
Yeah, and it's over 100,000 right now. That's how that the shelters are housing as far as migrants.
Which baffles me because all of this tax money is going into helping non-American citizens, and we don't even help American citizens. It's baffling to me. We got all this money to send to the Ukraine, and billions of dollars to send to the Ukraine, and all this money to house migrants and things of that nature, but we don't have nothing for actual American citizens, tax-paying citizens.
What do you mean? What do you mean for tax?
We don't house them.
What do you mean?
What I'm
like tax-paying citizens,
yes,
people that actually pay taxes.
Yeah, they're not looked after in the same way that the way you have now the New York looking after migrants coming into the U.S. being housed. They was offering people their own private house a couple thousand a month to house these migrants in your house. Homeowners were never told that they'd be paid to house American citizens that can't afford shelter or things of that nature. Right. So what's the difference for the migrants?
So you're saying people that are struggling, but they work, they're struggling.
I'm saying people that are not even struggling. There's Americans that are homeless.
Look at the homeless population.
You have Americans that fought in wars for this country and are homeless, but getting no shelter.
So that's not so that because in relation to what you were talking about, I thought the construction on Randall's Island wasn't that also for people that are here, or is that strictly for migrants?
They're building that for migrants.
That's migrants, bro. That's not
their whole Randall's Island. They're using soccer field on Randall's Island to build tents.
That is for migrants that's coming in past the border and they're being shipped to different parts of the country, and in this case, New York. So that island is being set up to house migrants that are coming across the border. not American citizens.
That's unacceptable. See, I mean,
Not
I thought
American
it said
citizens.
migrants, but also, I figured also just people like you said that are homeless, that are natives of this country, this homeland,
Oh no, yeah.
in this city. I thought that they would be able to find salvage in a haven in this shelter that they were building. I didn't know that it was strictly for migrants,
No,
but
man.
like I told you, man,
Migrants getting better
well,
treatment than American citizens.
I
man.
told you that, man. Listen, when you're from a different part, you're gonna get the treatment better. They're trying to because they're trying to court them. They're trying to persuade them because they know that they're gonna get it on the back end. You are now going to you're gonna get your citizenship here, and you're gonna work for us. And when that happens, you're on your own.
They're not screening them as well, right? There's no like screening process for the migrants. They're just letting them.
No, I don't know if we talked about this the last
time.
The governor of Illinois is putting in legislation that would allow migrants, non-American citizens, to be hired as police officers in the state of Illinois. The governor of Illinois.
Are they having an issue with police staffing?
No, even if they were, you have enough U.S. citizens that you can. There's no country in the world, first world nation, where you can go in and be entitled to what the citizens of their respective nations are entitled to.
I agree.
You can't find that nowhere in the world.
They at one point were giving them welfare. There was at one point where I had seen that they were getting government assistance. Obviously, I don't know if everybody with the amount they're bringing in, I don't know if they could sustain that. But at one point, they were giving them welfare.
Yeah, I was only asking that because I figured maybe a lot of residents of Illinois, they probably didn't. That wasn't a job that they desired. So hey, listen, we can give some of these people jobs. But
that's great.
As you stated, once again, you get them in the workforce, you get them on the papers, you get them as residents, and then now you're on your own. However, if you're making it easy for them, it's not going to be that difficult. Like you said, if that were the case, get some of these homeless people some jobs and help them out.
How is the United States
train
government,
some of these people to
where's
get
all
jobs?
this money, like, with all this tax money that's being used to take care of all of these migrants and all that, when that tax money could have been utilized to benefit American citizens? Okay, we're sending billions. What is it now in total? I think it's about 170 billion in total that has been sent to the Ukraine.
Vern,
where did that money come from?
Vern, Manny and Rod, let me ask y'all a question. Okay, in regards to this country, even if they have the money, how do you think they're going to keep things in line? They're going to make us work for it, and we have to pay for that stuff. There is no, regardless of whether they print money or not, or whatever have you, that's why they can lend money and get it back from us. That what you're looking for is a utopia. The likelihood of that is not occurring, brother.
No, it's not. It's not a utopia. It's principle. The American people have been sitting here watching and literally looking at a president send hundreds of billions of dollars to another nation and not doing anything to rectify the issues that plague American citizens here. American citizens should be the priority. Not the Ukraine, not migrants, nobody else. You're American citizens. When you're a president, whatever you're a president of, it is incumbent upon you to be responsible for those individuals within that respective society that you preside over as the president.
Let's be clear. You could be the president. You might just be the face.
No, he wouldn't understand that.
I'm not disputing
you're pushing
that.
the agenda that the people that have endorsed you and sponsored you, that's the agenda that you're pushing. You're pushing their agenda.
Yes, but
no,
go ahead. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's just I don't know. This is I don't because most people don't agree with this the concept of the migrants and the sending the money to Ukraine. So this is just again, I just feel like it highlights kind of what we talked about before. Like I don't know how this man was the most voted for president in United States history. This just doesn't make logical sense to me. But well, Adam, what? So again, what did you say? You said that.
Oh, when it comes down to first off, it's a play, like you said, on control. But what I'm saying is, even if they print money, even if these countries print money, let's say, they have no problem sending money out there to help other countries, other nations, because at the end of the day, okay, quid pro quo, we did what we did. Addressing the priorities at home is not an issue for them. They're worried about the bigger picture. They're going to get the money back on taxpayers' dime. That's what keeps everything in control, and that's what keeps a structure as far as they're concerned. So they have no problem playing political game with Ukraine while we still have suffrage over here.
Okay, see what you're saying is because you said the word utopia.
Playing migrants through the jobs of his womb.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's to replace black folk.
Well,
the bottom line.
That's all it is. It's going to replace us. It's going to hurt us. More migrants coming hurts us. They take our jobs.
Well, bro, at the end of the day, we all going to get up out of here soon because the robots are gonna take the jobs soon.
As a whole.
Yeah. My fault.
That's me. But I feel like the idea that you could only think a government that doesn't exploit its people for capitalistic gain, that can only not exist in a utopia, means that you are looking at things through a Eurocentric lens. Because that is the only way where something like that seems normal under a European mindset. The fact that there have been societies that long predate America that have had systems where people were not exploited for their gain and had very peaceful, not even say peaceful, equitable or equity where everybody gets their fair share. Because we've had this discussion before where you seem like where you kind of go along with what's going on because that's just the way things are. But no revolution will start if we just go by that's how the way things are.
Right. I don't just believe. One thing about me, I don't just believe in empiricism, number one, but I know, like he said, I know how we are as people, and if we really felt that way, perfect example, the bridge, the tolls that they're gonna do to go into Manhattan. Why isn't there an uproar? If we have going along,
yeah.
So then you want to know how you make change immediately. You stop working. All people, like I tell you, the people have the power. You say, we are not doing this if you continue to do this. We can't afford to do this. But what I'm trying to tell you is it is the way of the world. And sometimes when you become
it's the way because people allow it.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Whether it's a Eurocentric, money-driven world, that's what it is.
It is not the normal way. Complacency is allowing this to continue, but it is not the normal way of things. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's the normal way now. We've allowed it to be normal. But secondly, going back to what you said about other nations and other civilizations, yes, the reason why that may have occurred is because it was sustainable from within. The country took care of itself, so they focused more on that. Nowadays, it's more from me being born at the time that I'm being born in. It's more of a political type of thing. You have the UN, you have other nations making sure that everything is in line with each other, so that we don't have issues over here, they don't have issues over there, stuff like that. So back in the day, there probably may not have been as many nations and civilizations on a worldwide front. Or from that level, we just need to worry about our nation, our civilization, and that's that. We took care of ourselves with our resources and the tools that we had for the most part. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know if they were consistently, getting resources from other lands. They could have, but like I said, it still wasn't It still didn't become to what it is now. And nowadays it's more modern. It's more of a modern world and stuff like that. So you have to play the political game even more often because those are the parameters. That's the guidelines that they set up. We need you for this. We need these borders. We need this. All right, we'll send you the money. But this is what we need on the back end. This is what we need. This is what we need going forward. It's not going to be for free. No. There is a payment. There is some sort of payment that must be set up, and that's why, like you said, and as I was saying, there was a plan in all of this. They're going to pay the price in the long run. You want to come in here and live with us now? Now you're going to see the American way, and you're going to see what was it? Well, the land of the free. You're going to see.
Here's the thing: those people who are coming from those countries, they're okay for working for below minimum wage.
Of course.
So, that's the point, though.
That hurts us. That hurts. If
you allow that exploits your own citizens.
Yeah. But listen. One thing you must understand:
the American citizens.
If you have a business, and or we all have a business, and we could get people that's going to take less. No disrespect. From our financial standpoint, we're most likely going to do it, unless the people that are demanding more, like we see the difference in efficiency and their work speaks for itself. But for the most part, if you can cut costs and you can say, all right, it'll get the job done. It may not be exactly to the specific level as this person, but if we could cut costs with quite a few workers, then we're going to do it.
You don't see that like that to that degree in first world nations, though. First world nations prioritize their citizens. They don't prioritize migrants and people outside of their country. You can't show me a first world nation that does that. Show me a first world nation that will put their citizens on a back burner and prioritize people freshly coming into the country. Show it to me. You don't see that. First world nations prioritize their citizens first. Then they will worry about the newcomers into the country. But your citizens are prioritized first. America, you're seeing something completely different. We've never seen that before until we had this clown in the White House now.
I don't have the full information on that.
He's doing that.
You will never see a country in the East do that. You will never see Japan do that.
Show me a first world nation anywhere on planet Earth that prioritizes migrants and foreigners over citizens. You can't find it. It don't exist. Only here in America now. Now migrants coming into America are getting prioritized over American citizens.
Well, I mean,
everybody else, the Ukrainian citizens.
Hold on.
They have been now more prioritized over actual American citizens. 170 billion has been sent to the Ukraine.
You almost had me. You almost had me. But can we agree that this nation was built upon behind it being a melting pot for the most part, correct?
Say that again?
Well, yeah,
this nation is a melting pot
for people coming here. All right, yeah, sure,
correct. That's how when it came into pass.
Yeah.
For the most part, it was more of a melting pot as opposed to other nations and countries. So they may even have more of a cap than we do, and the way our country might be looking at it is more of a game than not. Like you said, other countries may want to be more hermetic, more insulated, and say, no, we're going to worry about our own, our kind, whatever you may view it as. But like I said, this country was more of a melting pot. So for them, you want to come? Good, come in. We'll get you set
I don't
up
think we have any issue with people coming here who want to become citizens and live a life here. That's fine, but that's completely different from letting hundreds of thousands of migrants come in unscreened, give them housing, some of them getting welfare, while you have hundreds and thousands of American citizens on the street.
We agree.
That's baffling to me.
That's crazy.
Absolutely baffling.
I just told you.
I don't understand that. And like American citizens just sit there and watch. Like nobody is calling this guy out on that. That's baffling.
Because Ukraine is going to have to pay the price later on.
What price Ukraine gotta pay?
Ukraine?
Yeah, what price they gotta pay?
You don't think, like you said, them sending billions of dollars and stuff like that to Ukraine to help provide support, and so you don't think on the back end there's going to be some sort of
the reason why I don't think so, because the reason why Ukraine is getting all this financial support is because a lot of the American politicians have offshore accounts in the Ukraine.
Oh well, then
things of that nature.
There you go. Then I mean, all right. So then that explains
there's favoritism and things.
That's what you call politics,
the president of the Ukraine, Zelensky. He's literally an actor. Who's an actor and made skits on becoming president, and then literally ran for president and then won. He's an actor. He has no political background. The president of the Ukraine. He's literally like a comedic actor who put up skits on running for president that actually did it and won.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Schwarzenegger was an actor and he became a governor. Okay.
Again, but it has nothing to do with their political affiliations. It's based off their name. That proves even more that the voting in America is not based off the political background of the individual and what their and how their a political plan is utilized to actually help citizens. It has nothing to do with that. It's just a celebrity test.
Popularity.
Trump was a celebrity.
The only difference with Donald Trump that I'll give him is that he didn't fund his own campaign with his own money. You understand? President,
he did.
You're not.
He funded his own.
Schwarzenegger was what? He was the governor. He wasn't the president.
No, I agree.
Yeah. So what I'm saying,
just saying the politics.
But
in general.
Trump, Schwarzenegger being governor in California is nowhere near in weight and volume in comparison to Trump becoming president. When you look at most guys that get into the presidency and become presidents, if you look at their campaign and the funding that goes into their campaign, the majority of their funding comes from major corporations.
Of course.
It's major corporations.
Of course.
When you look at Donald Trump got loans and things of that nature, but majority of it was paid for out of his own pocket. You didn't see that before. This is why when he got in the White House,
he was able to
do whatever he wanted. There was no corporation that funded him into the White House to say, now you have to do things on our behalf. No, he's in the White House like, I got here on my own money, and I figure I could do whatever I want. He didn't have to. Nobody funded him into the White House. He did it on his own. He's one of the wealthiest men to run for. Might be the wealthiest man to become the president. Mm-hmm. Based off his own income. So what I'm saying is it's not the same with Schwarzenegger and Trump, but this whole thing with sending all this money out to the Ukraine and taking care of the migrants and things, it does not make any. First of all, where does 170 billion come from? Where do we have that money to come from? I thought we was in debt. I thought we was $1 trillion in debt and all of that. Where did we have $170 billion to send? Where did that money come from? I thought America was in debt. Are we trillions in debt?
Listen, man.
So now we have almost 200 billion magically we have to send to a European nation, but we have nothing for American citizens. You talk about reparations. Black people talk about reparations. We have nothing for that. Nothing. But we have 170 billion to send to a European nation. While you have homeless people out here in America, people struggling to survive.
Listen,
we have billions to send to another nation. It's mind-boggling, bro. It's mind-boggling.
There's always a reason if you find a reason. If you don't have homeless people, then you have nothing to really fix. You have no issue. Like,
even without homeless people, you gonna have these issues. People are always struggling.
But that's not an issue.
What?
That the homelessness issue won't be an issue. But if what you're saying is true, let's say you could print money and all the other stuff. What problems are you really gonna have throughout the civilization, throughout the country? You would have enough for policing. You would have enough to try to keep everything intact. If you did that, you would have mostly everything intact the way you want it. If what you're saying is accurate,
wouldn't you want a nation with no issues?
Excuse me?
Wouldn't you want a nation?
Are you asking me personally?
Just anybody? Wouldn't you want to live in a nation with no issues?
if that were true, like you said, people wouldn't move the way they move. But first off, let's get back, which I talk about frequency and life. Yin and yang exist for a reason. Up, good, evil, cause, effect.
Yeah.
Right, wrong. There has to be something for every action. There's a reaction. There has to be chaos in order to have some sort of structure. You cannot have one without the other.
Yes,
You're not gonna know what structure is without,
bro. You had structure on the earth prior to
yin and yang doesn't necessarily one has to be good and evil.
This history written on that, bro.
Different. You can have something
forces, but that's
and opposing force could just be differing opinions. It doesn't necessarily have to stretch it to the point of you have to know. You can only know what peace is if you've experienced chaos. No, I don't agree with that.
That's a Eurocentric mindset.
You're not gonna know.
Yes,
that would just be the norm. That wouldn't even be that. Listen, that wouldn't even be what it is.
The idea that you think you have to know chaos.
You don't. That's a Eurocentric mindset. That's no way, because that comes out of Eurocentric thinking about chaos and how to understand things from a chaotic perspective.
Well, from a realistic standpoint, we were birthed into a Eurocentric world, brother.
Let's acknowledge that the chaos originates from the Eurocentric mindset. You don't have to know chaos to understand structure. Prior to the European occupying positions of power globally, prior to that ever happening, the world was structured.
I don't know that.
Maybe you didn't read, but there's information on that.
I've read stuff.
I wasn't alive when George Washington was president, but I can read about the culture of America.
But
I don't need to be alive back then.
There were still issues. There might have been disputes within civilizations.
Absolutely.
Over whatever and stuff like that. So there was, whether it was minor chaos, whether it was friction, whatever you want to call it. There are still issues that are always going to occur.
I'm not disputing. Listen to what I'm saying.
You could be in a crowded house and there could be an issue because of whatever.
But what I'm saying,
maybe someone snores too loud. Maybe somebody in the